Good
Grace. I'm
evening.
going to be your table topics master for tonight. This is a fun portion of the meeting. It allows us to practice our impromptu speaking, and impromptu speaking is important, just as important as our regular non-practice speaking, because oftentimes we don't have the opportunity to practice our speech before we say it, and we have to think on our feet. So this will be a good opportunity to practice that. It will also allow every member who doesn't have a speaking role today to speak at the meeting. However, I think everybody has a speaking role today, so nobody is accepted.
Nobody's safe.
Yeah, nobody's safe. I will start by reading a question that I'll pick, and then I'll read it once up here, and then I'll pick somebody to come speak. You can come back. You can come up here. We'll shake hands, and then I'll read it again. Feel free to read it by yourself out loud, and then you can begin with your speech. This is going to be 1 minute, 1 minute speech, and 2 minutes. Oh, 2 minute speech. Sorry, 2 minute speech. Keep your eye on the timer for their folders to keep track of your time. So, let me begin. I will choose a topic. Okay. The first question will be, what is a habit you've developed that has really helped you in your life? And the first person I want to pick, do we have any volunteers though?
I'll do it.
Okay. Thank you, Tommy. Your question again is, what habit have you developed that has really helped you in your life?
My question is, what is a habit I have developed that really help me in my life? Well, fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests, the habit that I have developed is public speaking. I came to this country, I didn't speak a word of English at the age of 17. The reason I was able to speak fluently, I guess, better improve my speaking skills every day due to the fact that I was not shy. I will try to speak whenever I can. If I stumble, I'll learn and keep going. I'm constantly learn about vocabularies, any new vocabularies. I listen to news, I go to school, I read books, constantly learn. Earlier I was talking about the inspiration code, live and learn. That for me, if I can improve, learn a new word every day, that's 365 days a year, which is, for me, that's very good. And also, besides learning the new vocabularies, I also learned how to enunciate. I'm not a native speaker, so my tone of voice is very funny. So I have to be able to enunciate properly. So my word cannot be ambiguous, it has to be clear. So to go back, the habit I have been developed and really helped me with my life is public speaking, Toastmaster. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Yes, we all strive to be as good of a speaker at public speaking as Tommy. Our next question will be, if you could change one thing about your daily routine, what would it be? And I want to ask, well, does any volunteers? No?
Ask the question again.
If you could change one thing about your daily routine, what would it be?
Daily routine.
And I'm gonna ask Jenny to come in.
Thank you, Grace. Okay, so the question is, if I could change one thing about my daily routine, what would that be? One daily routine I would have to change would be not to set the snooze button on my alarm clock. Sometimes because I set the snooze button for too many times, it turned out that I'm in a big rush because I'm already past like 20 minutes or 30 minutes. So if I can change that, so I can slow down my daily routine, I can take care of things better and not to rush to get in the car, not to rush to get to the role and rush to get to the kids. So I think that will help me and mentally and also maybe help my life in a better, set in a better tone in the morning. And that's the only one thing I think will be very helpful, not just for me, for my entire family. So we don't all have to rush in the morning and, like a bad mood and bad tone because we try to get out and screaming and yelling. So that's a one daily routine that I think will help the entire family if I can change it. Thank you.
I completely agree. Unfortunately, I set like 5 alarms after the real alarm because I know I'm not gonna wake up for the real one. Okay, next question is, what is the best advice you've ever received? And I'm going to ask, Alex.
Alex.
Thank you. Oh man, I have to dig deep into this. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received? So when I was younger, let's say I was like 7 years old. I'm not gonna say I was a brat, but I probably wasn't. I don't know. I don't think I was maybe the nicest kid and such. So I had a conversation with my Uncle Mark, and I know he watches this from time to time. So Uncle Mark, thank you. If there's view counts on my videos because my family's watching it. But my Uncle Mark, he told me it's a very simple advice: treat others how you want to be treated. And ever since then, I've really followed that ideal. I try to be polite. I try to give respect if I want respect from others. Trying to think of some other examples as well, but I just try to follow that ideology throughout my life. When I played basketball, when I was on the wrestling team, when I went to college, meeting you all, I try to be nice and very courteous and respectful for you all. So yeah, so at the end of the day, I mean, those were simple words, but something that was taught to me when I was younger, and I really hopefully I followed and adhered to it as much as possible. And yeah, thank you, Uncle Mark. Oh, shoot.
Go back.
Okay. Our next question will be, agreed. I wanted to say agreed. I really think that's a great piece of advice. But our next question will be, what is something that always brings back fond memories for you? And I would like to ask Jin.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guests, something that brings back a fond memory for me. Boy, I ran through a number of things on my way here, and unfortunately I've spoke on one of them, which was my high school, where we had a beach on one end of the campus and a forest on the other end of the campus. And I realize that's probably going to be the theme of my table topic, is that I really love being in the outdoors, and it kind of drove what I became in career-wise as a geologist. Unfortunately, I spend all of my days indoors now in an office, but when I started out, I got to be in the field a lot, and it always, going back to those times when I was in the field, even when I was working in like factories, as long as I was outside in the sunshine, I was happy. And when I was in, like I said, in my high school, we would run down to the beach and enjoy those times together, spending times with friends, that sort of thing. When I got into college, I got to spend even more time in the outdoors, usually in the desert, looking at rocks. And it was a very formative experience, all that time spent outside. Thank you, and have a good evening.
I always love hearing about your stories about your life. Just little tidbits. It's really good to see into like who you are and what has shaped you as a person.
Thank you.
Our next question will be, if you could spend a day with your younger self, what advice would you give them? So the question is, if you could spend a day with your younger self, what advice would you give them? And I would like to ask our guest, Vanessa, to speak.
Okay, so the question is, if I could spend a day with my younger self, what advice would I give myself? And at this point, if I can go back many, many, many years, I would tell myself to not be so shy, to speak to people, to just ask questions, because I didn't ask questions. When I was younger, if other friends would talk to me, I would talk to them. Otherwise, most of, I guess, my young career when I was in elementary school, I was mostly alone. Like, unless somebody spoke to me, then I spoke to them, because I was afraid to talk. I was afraid to just put myself out there, to be vulnerable. And I think that's what led to me not speaking up, not saying what I actually felt. But now, as I started growing up, I started to talk a little bit more. I started to get out there. I started to ask a lot of questions. So that was, if I could go back, I would tell myself, talk, speak to people, and just get out there.
Yeah, and this is a great opportunity for you to get out there and speak with new people. We're a bunch of new people. Our last speaker, I would like to ask, what is a small, simple thing that makes you really happy? And I would like to ask Tim. Yes, Tim. Oh, you're speaking today.
No one's safe.
No one's safe.
No.
No one's safe.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Last chance, don't take
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
For sure. What is the question? Is it this guy right here? Okay, sweet. What's a small, simple thing that makes you really happy? Whew. Maybe a dog, right? Dogs are pretty great. French bulldog specifically. I think I spoke about it in my icebreaker. I don't have any dogs because I'm cold and heartless, or anything that comes down to it. My family has 2 dogs. Actually, one of them passed away recently. That's a heartbreaking thing, and that's how you know it made you really happy when I say it passed away, and then you go, right? Because you know that thing treated you as good as a person could possibly treat you. And there's a joke actually, right? It goes like this: if you lock your wife in the trunk of a car, right, and you lock your dog in the trunk of a car, and you come back 2 hours later and you open it up, which one's going to be happy to see you? And so for that reason, I'm not sure what I'm looking like on time, but am I okay? Admittedly, I'm going to cut it close there, okay? Thank you for letting me share.
I've never heard that before, but yeah, I can see it. Thank you everybody for participating. And just a reminder to vote for whoever you thought was the best speaker today. Yes, I will bring it back to our Toastmaster of the day. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, we're taking a 5 minutes break.
Yes, 5 minutes.